So, question number one from Aaron DaCosta. We're halfway through the season. Aaron asks, who are the best teams you've seen and why?
Ooh. I think that Leeds. I think that was the biggest test so far for us. Not only because we played away. I think, as you know, they are very clear in the way they want to do things and very drilled into them. I think that. I think Preston, when we met them, were quite impressive that moment in time. I think that Fulham in the beginning of the season was really good. Of course, when we played them, we were on top of that game, but I think they played some really good football early in the season. I think West Brom, they have impressed me very much. Of course, we played a very good game there, so I'm not only talking when we were playing them. And there was one more team, I think there was. No, maybe us.
Yeah, and I guess three quite different teams, aren't they? Because Preston, perhaps like Brentford, go under the radar a little bit. Alex Neil's doing good. Leeds, as you say, possibly going to wear themselves out towards the end of the season. But I thought West Brom are a very tidy team. We've seen a terrible couple of games in the Premier League over but West Brom and Brentford, very attractive teams. Is it easier for you? Easier, not quite the right word. Does it make your life more interesting if a team come and try and play on the deck like Fulham and West Brom do? Because you seem to struggle against teams that try and kick you up in the air.
Yeah. I think the thing is you need to be prepared for whatever is going to be thrown against you. And I think we have handled that quite well during the season. But I think the most, from my perspective, most interesting game to watch is when two teams want to play expansive and play open, and both teams want to dictate the game. And I think when you get that right mixture, I think you will have some very good games. For example, the West Brom game we just played. Actually, also the Fulham game, even though we were superior in that game, I think that was a very interesting game to watch as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. Several people obviously want me to ask you for an update on Pontus Jansson and his hip, I understand.
Yeah.
Are you sort of like managing him through that, or is it an ongoing problem?
No, it's a minor injury that I expect will be sorted, and my hope and realistic view of that situation is that he will be ready for the Swansea game. But it's a day-to-day situation. So he was out there on the grass today, and it will be tomorrow, and then we take a decision on Boxing Day.
Okay, cool. Breville Waterman, our dear friend, asks, 3 games in 6 days, how will you manage fatigue?
It's all in the head. So they just need to run, and then run a little bit more. When they feel the pain, they need to run a little bit more. That's one part of it. Then we know, of course, there is this accumulation of tiredness in the body in a long season, and of course with a short turnaround between the games, it means something. So we'll try to do our best to play some fresh players when needed, and try to not play 90 minutes to too many players in the 3 game. Definitely not too many playing 3 90 games in a row.
Okay. Mike Cook, Berkshire B, who's a good lad for his statistics, he asks, how many players do you think you need to bring in to achieve promotion? Quite a tough one, that one, to be fair.
That's a tough one. First and foremost, it'll be a little bit boring answer, because what I would say? I would say that if we, lose our focus in the daily work, the next training, the next game, then we can forget everything about dreams and everything what the journalists and the fans and everybody's talking about. I just know my job is to make sure that everybody stay grounded and focused on the daily task, and then prepare for the next game. So that's one thing, to try to answer that question about if you should bring somebody in or not bring somebody in. My biggest aim is to keep everybody, and I know that's the club's aim as well. So that's what we will try to achieve. And then we know we already have, because we are on the front foot, we are well prepared. So we're already bringing one very good offensive player into the squad. And if I should be honest, I'm very pleased with my squad and my team. I don't think we need don't think we need any players. I think we look quite good. So why bring anybody in that could disturb that? So yeah.
You talk about offensive player, then presumably that's Halil Dezoglu,
exactly.
who's joins you shortly.
Yeah.
And there's a question about him actually. Chris and Jeanette both ask, is he I know I've asked you this before, is he a 9 or a wide player?
I will find out. Now we know. I would put it this way. I would say that he's a type like Ollie Watkins.
Okay.
No, not like Ollie Watkins.
Yeah.
But he is a type that can play 9, they can play 10, they can play to the side. So exactly that type like Ollie can. He's a different player in other skill set and some different strengths and different weaknesses. But a very interesting player and a very talented player. And we are really looking forward to get hold of him and work with him and get him going.
We talked about this last time. Sparta Rotterdam are now on a winter break. Is there any chance of him going back to Sparta Rotterdam if you don't, to use an English phrase, fancy him? Or is he he's a Brentford player and he stays here, whatever?
For me, he's a Brentford player and he stays here. We want to use him.
Okay. Helen asks, is Marcus Forss coming back in January? He's pulling up trees at Wimbledon, keeping them up.
He's doing a top job. It's always tempting when you have a very good player on loan and they're doing well to call them back. And of course, it's something we will assess in the start of January to see where we are in terms of everything, because so many things can happen, injuries to him, to other players, and so that will after the FA Cup game, the 4th of January, that's where we will sit down and find out what do we do.
Okay, a couple of people asked after Emiliano Marcondes as well. What's the plan there?
Similar. He will join us in the end of December and train with us for a couple of weeks. And similar situation to Marcos. We will sit down and take a decision in the beginning of January. Okay.
We've seen a lot of the new signings. Jamie Mann asks, is Drew Yearwood near to involvement? Because we've not seen much of him.
No, he's been a little bit unlucky. He had some setbacks in terms of minor injuries that set him back for 2-3 weeks, and then need to catch up and keep going. So just before the latest minor injury, he was in a really good place. So I expect him to see him in January get involved if he's progressing the right way. We think he will. Okay. So he's a promising player that we are happy to have.
Danny asks, where do you think you're best? What have you been most pleased with? And conversely, where can you improve?
With the team?
Yeah.
I must say that the most promising thing and the bit I've been most pleased with is the defensive side of our team this season. We know that the last 5 seasons, Brentford have been a team that conceded way too many goals. Too much soft defending, and this season I think we already worked on it last season, but it's stand out this season in terms of top organization, not giving any soft goals, or at least very, very few. The mentality in the team, there's a desire to defend, which is you can't just we want the desire to defend. No, you need to actually work on it every single day out there on the training pitch, in the meetings, in the evaluations, in the feedback, all that. So that's been better, and of course also that we brought in some class players that could help that. So all these things together prove that we are one of the top defensive sides in the division. I think that's impressive in terms of where we came from. So that's definitely the part I'm most proud of. But we need to continue. Of course, we can't take our foot off the pedal. We need to keep going. Where we could improve, I would love us actually to score even more goals. I think we have potential to that. That's a simple version of that. But especially play the chances even bigger when you have the opportunity. And the last bit is that when we actually performing quite well, so turn some of these 1-0 defeats into a draw or a win. And I don't think we are too far off it.
Yeah. Penultimately for me, the boys from the Vlogzine, Besotted, and the forum chaps and chapesses, the Griffin Park Grapevine, are very keen for you and I to put on record that tickets are available on Boxing Day through the exchange. Peter Gillam has made a big deal of this as well, about filling Griffin Park. What part can the fans play? How important is it to have the place throbbing and full of people?
For Boxing Day or in general?
Yeah, well, Boxing Day and in general. But
Oh,
I guess game by game. We'll take it one game at a time, Thomas.
Yeah, thank you. You're listening. I'm pleased with that.
Understanding.
What
part can the fans
I'm a
play?
massive. You felt it against the latest game against Fulham at home. They were absolutely brilliant throughout the game. It's so important, and especially when the team's suffering. Of course, it's also good to get us over the line in the end when we're 1-0 up, or pushing us in the end when we are 1-0 down, or the 1-1 where we want to win it 2-1. But during the game when it's a little bit flat, that's where we need it. Or when we start bad for whatever reason, that's where we need them. It's everywhere. You even hear Guardiola talking about it for Man City against Leicester. You're a little disappointed at the fans because they didn't, they're not really behind them in the beginning. And I think our fans been brilliant, but that's the bit where it means so much. And it was so pleasing, such a fantastic feeling to have so many fans traveling for the West Brom game. We could hear them throughout the game, and for me actually, there was if there was a group of fans you could hear throughout the game, it was the Bees. It was not the West Brom fan. Yeah, they were a little bit loud once in a while, but constantly they were going. That means so much to us.
One final request. It's from Mr. Phil Parry, who you know well, is asking me to ask you. For our Boxing Day coverage of the Swansea City game, to say Happy Christmas to all of our BBC Radio London listeners from Brentford in Danish. That's from Phil, not me.
Say that again. Happy Christmas.
Phil would like you to say Happy Christmas to everybody listening to BBC Radio London from Brentford in Danish. Can you do that for us?
Ja, jeg kan, no problem. Glædelig jul til alle de dejlige lytter, som følger BBC Radio til kampen mod Swansea.
Thank you very much indeed, Thomas. You're most kind.